What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, live with your NFL Week 8 picks, straight up and versus the spread. In this video, I break down every game, every single matchup from this week in the NFL, giving you the winner straight up and the pick versus the spread. I have also added an extra layer to this week's picks. I've also added an extra dimension, so to speak, to this week's picks. And because you guys always ask in the chat, you're like, score. I need a score. You guys love scores. So what I've done is I have made a little scoreboard that will go right here. Okay, while I'm talking about the game, I got a little graphic, and I'm gonna plop it up on the screen as I'm talking so you guys can see the score I have for every game every week. Now, I do not calculate my pick versus the spread, my record versus the spread, because I only calculate my best bets when it comes to versus the spread. If anybody knows that record, let me know, because I am definitely intrigued by it. But in terms of my record straight up, I am 69-38 now on the season after going 9-4 last week. We're starting to hit the bye-apocalypses, which means this is a fantasy term when we have all these teams on byes and all these fantasy players on byes. We call it the bye-apocalypse, and that's kind of where we're in that kind of mode right now where all these teams are on byes. So we're kind of navigating that part of the NFL season, so there's less games as there were, at the beginning of the year when there was like 16 games. Now there's only 13, 14, somewhere in that range. So before we get started, guys, you know what to do, all right? You gotta Gronk spike that like button. And don't forget to Gronk spike that notification bell if you haven't already for the latest live stream and the latest upload. Okay, before we get started, Turtle reminded me what I've got to do. Turtle. Texans. Release Brandon Cooks. Let the man free. Let him go to a good team. How do you have one good player and you don't let him free? Release him. Trade him. If you guys didn't see earlier, of course, Mark Ingram was traded back to the New Orleans Saints, where he started his career as a first-round pick after winning the Heisman at Alabama. Brandon Cooks tweeted he was not happy with the trade. And I don't know if it had more to do with the fact that he wasn't traded or that Mark Ingram was traded. He basically said it's a joke. So I don't know what he's referring to, but potentially Brandon Cooks could be on the move to a contending team that needs a receiver. So we will find that out soon. But what's going on, everybody? Let me know how you're feeling, how you're doing, who you're picking in the chat. Let's get to those picks. Starting off with Thursday night football. Please, hashtag save Cooks, the Archer. Save him. All right. The Packers and the Cardinals. I will deliver my score as I pick the game. So, the line began the week at about -3 for Arizona, -3.5. Typically what that means is Vegas has determined that this is pretty well a even game on a neutral field, and a lot of times the old school adage is that home field is about 3 points. Now that has recently changed in the NFL as the data, or data, depending on how you say it, now suggests that home field is closer to just 2, maybe 1 point, depending on where you're at. Arizona is not like as big of a home field as, let's say, Seattle, Kansas City, Green Bay, or Minnesota. Those are kind of like the big ones. Arizona is kind of like, probably more like a point, right? So That being said, Arizona was kind of like a 2-point favorite on the neutral field. They get a point for being at home, makes it 3 points. Then it gets to 3.5 because of all the injuries with the Packers. Then we find out that Davante Adams is hurt, okay? Or not hurt, but he has the COVID. So he's on the COVID list. Then we find out Alan Lazard joined him, okay? So all that, we basically have what's known as a cluster injury to the receiving cores, although it's more of a cluster sickness, let's just say. The offensive line's a little bit beat up for Green Bay. The secondary's a little bit beat up for Green Bay. Even some of their pass rushers are a little bit beat up. But now the interesting thing here is that we're also finding out Arizona is not exactly healthy. J.J. Watt has been ruled out. D-Hop might not play, which would be a significant loss. So it's real interesting, this spread, and if you're planning on betting this game, I think it's real interesting and tough to figure out and handle. Personally, I look at this matchup, and I think it all comes down to the front of the Packers and the Aaron Rodgers getting protection. So, 2 things. Can the Packers do a good enough job up front on defense to contain Kyler Murray and get after Kyler Murray? They've been fairly good in the secondary. Obviously, if D-Hop plays, he should have an edge with whoever lines up across from him because there is no Alexander in the secondary for the Packers. But if he doesn't play, that would be huge, okay? That would be a huge loss. How do they involve Zach Ertz again into this game plan? We saw last week Zach Ertz had a huge touchdown in that game. Maybe he's involved over the middle of the field. And then on the flip side, you have the protection of the Packers offensive line, protecting Aaron Rodgers to get to those receivers down the field. I do think the Packers will be able to move the ball, but here's the thing. I think the Packers, especially without J.J. Watt in the lineup, can find some success running the ball in this game with both Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. They will have to be absolutely huge in this game for the Packers to have a chance, because I think they're going to rely a little bit more on their running game than they have in recent weeks because they do not have Davante Adams. Okay? Also, Aaron Rodgers is undefeated without Davante Adams in his career, with Davante Adams on the team when Davante Adams doesn't play, okay, not in his entire career. But Adams, without him, they are 6 or 7-0, something to that degree. So that's an interesting stat, which just goes to show that, Vegas really values Davante Adams because that moved the line 2-3 points, which I would say might be the biggest for any player not known as a quarterback. Like any non-quarterback player, that might be the biggest move I've seen all year. And then you look at the record and say, you know what? The Packers have actually been pretty good without Davante Adams. Maybe that means, Aaron Rodgers isn't necessarily playing out of structure as much. Maybe he plays more in structure when Davante Adams isn't there, so he just takes the open guy, moves the chains. He doesn't try to, throw those back shoulders one-on-one all the time and try to throw it up into contested coverage as much. He doesn't look to do that as much. He just takes the open guy. So I expect Randall Cobb. I think MVS will probably likely be in the lineup off of IR. Marquise Valdez-Scantling might play a role, but I think the running backs are going to have to be big, as well as Robert Tonyan in the red zone taking over for Davante Adams is the primary weapon there. And stopping Kyler Murray will be a task, obviously. I think both offenses should be able to find a way to move the ball and score in this game. I think it should be fairly exciting, even with the losses that we do have in this game, which sucks because I was wanting to see both of these teams kind of near full strength or as close as we could get. Chandler Jones should be back in the game, which is big, which is why I'm saying they need to protect Rodgers. I think that the game does end up still being a one-score game, and I have the Cardinals. Here's my score. The Cardinals winning at home 27-20. 23. So therefore, I will take the Cardinals to win, but I am going to take Aaron Rodgers with the points because that is in my book. You know, the book of Mitch. Rule 52 is that you don't bet against the Ravens. Well, Rule 12, okay? Aaron Rodgers is underneath it. It says, when Rodgers is getting this many points, you take the Packers with the points. So I'm taking Green Bay plus 6.5, but I do expect the Cardinals to come out with the win. All right. Next, we've got the Atlanta Falcons. -3 versus the Carolina Panthers. A very, very much struggling Carolina Panthers team with Sammy Darnold. Darnold has struggled a ton. The O-line for the Panthers have struggled a ton. The question is, can the Atlanta defense pressure Sam Darnold? Can they do it? Because if he has time, he might be able to get out of this slump. Now, Atlanta isn't exactly a great pass rush, okay? But I do think Dean Pease can find some ways to scheme it up, to apply some pressure on Sam Darnold, and look back at some of that Patriots film and look and say, what makes Sam Darnold see ghosts? And I think you'll see a little bit of that in this game. Now, on the flip side, Kyle Pitts is a beast. The Carolina defense has been very good. I think you're going to see the best pass rush Matt Ryan has seen in quite some time. In a while, since probably Tampa Bay. And the defense of Carolina does have some interesting athletes in their back end who maybe could match up with a Ridley and with a Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts has been amazing, though. I love having him on my fantasy team. But can they stop Cordell Patterson? He's pretty much unstoppable. I don't think Christian McCaffrey's playing. I have no idea when he's ever coming back. I'm not sure if Stephon Gilmore's playing, although that would maybe be a difference maker. DJ Moore's kind of gone ghost. Not sure where he's at. Overall, though, I see this game playing out a little bit lower scoring than I think people would assume based on these two teams. So my score for this game is 24-20 Atlanta. I've got them just covering the spread. I try not to pick a score that's exactly on the spread because you got to pick one side or the other. So I'm taking Atlanta to barely cover 24-20. Although whenever I pick Atlanta, it feels like they lose. So, I don't know, man. Maybe just fade me when I pick Atlanta. It's hard to trust the Atlanta Falcons when they're favored. You know, they were favored last week, I believe. And I picked Miami, okay? But it is definitely hard to trust this team when they are favored. I will say that much. But I've got Atlanta. I think they are just playing better football right now. And they know what they are better than the Panthers know what they are. The Panthers don't know what they are right now. They are lost on offense completely, and I think they need time to figure that out. Atlanta at least knows what they are as a team, even if they're probably less talented of a roster. So give me Atlanta to win that game. The Cincinnati Bengals. The Bungles are no more. Cincinnati is big-time favorites. When's the last time you saw the Bengals favored by 10.5 over an NFL football team? I don't remember the last time that Cincinnati was favored by 10.5 in an NFL football game. Cincinnati minus 10.5. I've got the Bengals here, and I think it's going to be a cakewalk. If you guys watched the Jets last week, it was embarrassing. I don't care who the quarterback is. Mike White, Joe Flacco, Mark Sanchez, shit, even Joe Namath. I'll take the Bengals to win this game. Joe Burrow is playing like Joe Namath right now. Jamar Chase is arguably the next Randy Moss right now. You got Joe Mixon. The Jets are the worst run team, giving up the most fantasy points to running backs. Give me Joe Mixon for 2 tutties. Okay? CJ Uzomah. So this is what I see, right? The Bengals can move the ball any which way they please. They can run it. They can pass it. The Jets don't have corners. So Chase, Higgins, Boyd, gonna feast. As long as the Bengals show up, they should put up 30 points in this game. As for the flip side, I mean, it speaks for itself. I think the Bengals defense is underrated. So, give me Cincinnati big time. 34-13. Bengals. Obviously covering. The Los Angeles Rams. What's going on, everybody? Ramifications is in the chat. Cindy's in the chat. Methan's in the chat. What's going on, guys? Let me know how you're feeling, how you're doing. The Rams at the Texans. Rams minus 14.5. If you guys can't do math, that is 2 touchdowns, 2 extra points, and a half a point. Okay? That is 14.5. So the Rams would have to score at least 15 to cover it. Okay? I feel this is what is tricky about this one. Okay? It's a big spread. But here's what's tricky about this one. The Rams were bigger favorites over the Lions than they were the Texans. So what that tells me is there was some sort of movement from the Rams and the Lions playing a close game. But here's the thing. You got to keep these things into account. The Lions actually had motivation to play the Rams hard, right? The Goff Stafford thing. Big deal. Big deal. Second, you've got the Rams coming off a game where they should have blown out a team, a little bit PO'd, right? A little bit PO'd. So they're going to want to play hard and win this game by a lot. So that's another thing. Third thing, the Texans players are pissed off. You're trading Mark Ingram. Brandon Cooks doesn't want to play. He wants to play with Mac Jones. He's told me that. He called me, he texted me. So the Rams are going to punish the Texans. It's not going to be close. The Texans are the worst team in the league. I've got the Rams 31-10. Here's the thing. Rams defense, not the greatest, but they do beat down the Texans offense. Because the Texans can't score. They can barely score a touchdown. On the other hand, though, the Texans' defense has kind of been a little feisty. I worry about their offense a little bit more. If you're trying to take the points here with the Texans, you need them to score. I don't think that's going to happen. So the Rams, 31-10. Next, the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. I believe it started at 13.5. It's moved to 14, at least on my favorite sports book. The Bills, minus 14. Here's the tricky thing about this one. Miami is dealing with this whole Deshaun Watson for Tua madness. And I don't know where they stand. Okay? I don't know if this Watson rumor is real. I don't know how much to believe in it. And I do think that can have a mental, block for a lot of the Dolphins players, the Dolphins quarterback, the Dolphins coaching staff. I think that's a big deal. That's a real thing. On the other hand, the Buffalo Bills are coming off a bye. The Buffalo Bills have shellacked the Miami Dolphins like 4 times in a row. I think Josh Allen's beaten Brian Flores 4 or 5 times already. And the Bills are also coming off a loss. Remember, their last game they played was in Tennessee on Monday night. They lost in an epic fashion. So this is a big number in a divisional game that I typically don't like to lay. But Buffalo has played the Dolphins so well in recent matchups that it makes me side with Buffalo to cover. So I'm going to take Buffalo to win for sure, but I will also side with Buffalo to cover. It also helps that the game is in Buffalo. So my score for this is 38-17 for Buffalo. Reason being, Miami, I think, will have more success on offense in this game than in the first matchup, but Miami's defense has been very bad. I don't think people realize how bad this defense has been this year, and I think Buffalo will take advantage for points, especially off of a bye. So give me Buffalo 38-17. Next, oh boy, the game of the week. We got the Philadelphia Eagles at the Detroit Lions. Philly favored by 3.5, and what to me is the shocking line of the week, because I don't know a single person on planet Earth other than sports fan who, by the way, sports fan, since you lost to the Raiders, I haven't seen you, bro. So why don't you comment? Let me know if you're still alive. Hopefully you're all right. The Eagles, I don't know a single human soul that anybody thinks they're better than the Lions by 3.5. This line doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. The Eagles suck. Like, I don't get it. I broke it down last week. I told you exactly what was going to happen. And they didn't even have Darren Waller. And the Raiders shredded the Eagles. The Eagles defense, I keep saying this. I don't know what they're doing. They have the softest coverage in the league. Their safeties are in the parking lot. Bro, the Lions are due. The Lions will win this game. Mark it down. Look into my eyes right now. Am I lying to you? I am guaranteeing right here on the show, the Detroit Lions will win this game. Dan Campbell will win this game. Jared Goff will win this game. Why? 2 things. The Eagles' D-line is their strength, right? The Lions have a good offensive line. They locked down Aaron Donald last week. They ran the ball successfully. They'll be able to do that again. Jared Goff will have time. This is in Detroit, not Philadelphia. It's in perfect climate. It's in a dome. That helps Jared Goff. Okay? It's in front of those feisty Lions fans that we all love. The Lions are playing with heart and passion. The Eagles don't show up till the 4th quarter. And when you play soft coverage versus Jared Goff, he's comfortable. He'll just take it underneath. He'll throw to Swift 400 times. Give me the Lions. My score for this one. The Detroit Lions 23. The Eagles 20. How about that? Eat your heart out, Eagles fans. Okay. Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Brownies. I had a really tough time for this one, and I honestly don't even remember who I picked. But the Steelers and the Browns played in the playoffs last year, and that one was an absolute disaster. It was kind of honestly embarrassing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, as I think a couple players after that game retired. Ben Roethlisberger considered retirement. Pouncey retired, right? They're coming off a bye, are the Steelers. Now, the Browns don't have too much of a disadvantage because they're coming off a Thursday night football game versus the Broncos where they had 10 days rest. Baker Mayfield has been taking most of the reps at quarterback, most of the first team reps. The hope is he can play. The hope is also Odell can play, although he's playing with one arm. Jarvis Landry's also beat up. I have seen people be ranking, PFF was ranking the Browns as a top 5 defense. I don't know what games they're watching. I mean, all I see with the Browns is they give up like 80-yard bombs like 2 times a game. Like, I don't understand it. So my prediction is that somehow, someway, Deontay Johnson will be butt naked, wide open for a 60-yard touchdown. I don't know how it's going to happen. That is just my prediction, okay? Probably a deep post. Nobody will cover him. That's just what happens with the Browns every week. The Browns run the ball well. I think the Browns can run the ball well in this game. Again, the Seahawks ran the ball pretty well the Seahawks ran the ball well on the Steelers in that Sunday night game, which was the only reason they won, basically. But for whatever reason, this game is in Pittsburgh. And I kind of get this feeling that Pittsburgh has a revenge game up their sleeve. So I'm typically not a Steelers guy here. But I like the points. Give me the 3.5. I will take Pittsburgh to upset the Browns 20-17 at Heinz Field in a revenge game for Pittsburgh. I just don't trust, whether it's Baker Mayfield or Case Keenum, I don't trust that they'll have enough in the passing game to win this game. It's one thing to beat the Broncos, but then you gotta beat the Steelers. And off a bye, the Steelers fighting for their lives. I've got Pittsburgh here in a big spot. Next, the San Francisco 49ers at the Chicago Bears. 49ers, I believe, started the week -3.5. It is now -4. The game is in Chicago, which is the home, I believe, of Jimmy Garoppolo. I could be wrong about that. I do believe he went to Eastern Illinois, I don't think I'm wrong about that. But the 49ers in Chicago. I like the 49ers here. Reason being, I can't pick. I just can't. I can't pick Justin Fields. Justin Fields right now has been horrific. Like so bad. Like, I don't even know what to say. The O-line is bad, but too many people are putting the onus on the O-line. Between Matt Nagy and his play calling and Justin Fields, I can't. The Bears struggle. They downright struggle to throw the ball for over 100 yards. I am not joking. Now, the Bears actually ran the ball okay on the Bucs, although the game was basically over from the way it started. On the flip side, I think Eli Mitchell, especially with Khalil Mack potentially out and Akeem Hicks potentially out, could have some success running the football. George Kittle should be back next week, but not this week. Debo is questionable, but I believe he'll play. Could this be the Brandon Ayuk spot? Everybody's hoping it will finally happen. But I think Jimmy Garoppolo goes to his homeland, comes out the winner. I'll take the San Francisco 49ers to win a old school, grinded out football game, 23-13, potentially their defense, maybe a strip sack fumble, an interception will set up the Niners with a touchdown in this game is my guess. I'm going to take the Niners to win as well as the Niners to cover. I have zero faith in the Chicago offense at all. When you can't pass the ball in 2021, you are a bad offense and a bad football team, period. The Indianapolis Colts, the Tennessee Titans. I'm throwing that score up here early because I got to show Dirk can't. I got the Indianapolis Colts to get this win. Surprisingly, the Titans are not favored in this game after 2 wins in a row against the Chiefs and the Bills. But the problem is they now play the Colts. The Colts are hot. The Colts are at home. The Titans beat the Colts the first time around. The Colts will split the season series just as I thought before the year. The Colts are the number 1 DVOA run defense in the NFL. The Colts may give up some plays in the passing game, but as long as their D-line, their front 7 can do a respectable job stopping Derrick Henry, the X factor here is I believe the Colts will score and move the ball. I like what I've seen from Carson Wentz. I think they can get solid enough protection. I think the beat-up Titans secondary is going to be a problem. Michael Pittman's playing very well. I'm not sure what T.Y. Hilton is going to be up to here. I like Mo Alley Cox. Jonathan Taylor can run it on anybody right now. I think a lot of people are going to be inflated. Their ego's going to be inflated by the Titans beating down the Chiefs. But I think that it was more about being bad Chiefs than it was good Titans. So I will take the Colts in an upset, sort of. It's a pick'em right now. I'll take the home team in a division matchup where I thought before the year this would be a split. I am not changing my mind on that. I am taking the Colts, Carson Wentz, Frank Reich, very familiar with each other in this game. I got it in a high-scoring, fun football game. A lot like last year where one team won the first matchup and the other team won the second matchup. I think the same thing happens here, and I'll take the Colts. Next, we've got Jacksonville. Jacksonville at Seattle. Now this one, heading into the week, I was like, this might be a spot Jacksonville could pick up a win. This might be a spot where, maybe you pick Urban Meyer. You know what I mean? Maybe you pick Trevor Lawrence to get the win. Until I listened to Peyton Manning and Tom Brady on Monday Night Football. And what they said was, it's very hard to communicate in Seattle. It's one of the places that home field actually matters in 2021 because you stinking Seattle fans are so damn loud. So, Trevor Lawrence will not be used to this, I think. I think this is going to be tough for Trevor Lawrence in an NFL game versus an NFL defense. A defense that made life hard on Jameis Winston and the Saints offense in a way that I didn't think was possible. I think that home field advantage that the Seahawks have in Seattle is the reason they win this game. That's why I'm taking Seattle to win. Now, as far as the spread goes, I'm not so sure on that one. If you do think the Jacksonville Jags have a chance to win this, maybe you just take the 3 points. But for me, what did I decide to do? I don't even remember. I decided to do 23-20. So, 24-20, whatever. So I'll take Seattle because I have them winning. So I'll take them to cover, although this would be a dead even. But I got 23-20 Seattle. I think the difference here that people don't understand is that the Saints defense is very talented and the Jaguars defense is not very talented. So the difference is that the Seahawks will be able to run the ball on Jacksonville when they weren't able to run the ball on the Saints. And the difference is Geno Smith will not have to deal with a good pass rush. He will be dealing with a bad pass rush. So considering all those things on top of the rookie quarterback in a hostile environment, I will take Seattle to win the game 23-20. Next, also my rule of never picking Urban Meyer. I'm going to do the Washington game next. So Washington at Denver. Denver is favored by a field goal in Denver. Now, this is another place where home field does matter. I don't even remember if I put a score for this game, but Oh, man. This one, to me, I could see it going either way, to be quite honest. What did I put as the score? Who did I even pick in this game? I flip-flopped constantly about this game. I picked Washington. Yeah, I guess I gotta stick with it. I mean, I keep flip-flopping with this one. So this is the dilemma I have. Denver sucks. Like they've lost 4 straight games. They might lose 5 here. What I do like to say about Washington is that they did almost, they kind of made that one closer than people expected versus the Packers, although they still covered the spread. The Packers did. This is like the flip the coin game of the week. Like any possible thing could happen. The Broncos could win a close game. The Washington football team could win a close game. Washington could blow out the Broncos. The Broncos could blow out Washington. I wouldn't be surprised by any single outcome in this game. Jerry Jeudy should be back for the Broncos. Please get the ball to Javonte Williams more. Thank you. The Broncos have a good secondary, should be able to match up with Terry McLaurin and company, but their run defense has been a little bit suspect as of late. Can Washington take advantage? Not so sure. Their run game hasn't been exactly phenomenal. I just think Washington is playing the better football right now, and when watching the Broncos offense, it literally hurts my eyeballs. Like I want to tear them out of my skull. So that being said, I just can't pick an offense that makes me want to stab a fork into my eye the way that the Broncos offense is and the way that it's playing. So maybe Jerry Jeudy helps that, maybe it doesn't. But I got Washington winning a close game. Who cares? I mean, I would advise don't bet on this game. Don't even pick this game if you're going to pick them. Just leave it empty. Who cares? All right. Next, we've got the game that I will be streaming. The New England Patriots at the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I've seen the spread 5, 5.5. I've seen 6. I saw 6 earlier when I was making the graphics, so I put 6. It could be 5.5. This is a great game, I think. This is a very good matchup between two smart coaches, 2 great coaching staffs. Chargers coming off a bye in LA. This game was played last year, Justin Herbert versus Bill Belichick, where Justin Herbert was shut out 45-0. Damian Harris has been steamrolling defenses the last couple of weeks. He is currently PFF's top-rated running back. Number uno. Will he go for 100 for the 3rd straight week? Well, here's the thing. The Chargers are the worst run defense in the NFL, ranked 32nd. If the Patriots are going to win this game, it's because they run the rock and run it well. And lucky for them, their offensive line, now with Ted Karras at guard and Michael Onwenu at tackle, has been very, very good. There's a hair in front of me that I'm smacking. Just the way that Damian Harris will smack Derwin James in the face on his way to the end zone. But Mac Jones has been playing good football, been making plays, but it's going to be versus a tough secondary. Arguably, one of the toughest he's played all year. So it's a true test for Mac Jones in that regard. But if they can do well with the run game, especially on early downs, that will help Mac Jones out a ton when it comes to rather avoiding 3rd downs or on 3rd and shorts. Also, running the ball means you're probably better in the red zone because it's easier to run the ball in the red zone, according to Tom Brady. So then you've got the Chargers offense, Justin Herbert, who did struggle versus Baltimore before the bye, a team that is in a way similar to New England in the way that they kind of show all this elaborate pressure and they play around with their coverages and all that sort of stuff. So in a way, as a Patriots fan, you have to feel somewhat confident with this defense, even though they lost Jonathan Jones and are in a tough matchup versus a talented offense because, 1, Baltimore was successful, and 2, New England shut out Herbert last year. So those 2 things help you in this game. I'm not sure if Brian Bulaga is playing. I don't think so, but I could be wrong. If he's not playing, that will mean Matthew Judon will probably be in the face of Herbert quite often. I'll be very intrigued to see if Jamie Collins is out there blitzing at Eckler a lot to keep Eckler in to protect so that he's not coming out on a route. I expect to see a double team on Keenan Allen more often than not, and I expect to see J.C. Jackson on Mike Williams more often than not. I also expect to see Derwin James versus Hunter Henry, who are former teammates, which I think is pretty cool. Will Hunter Henry have a revenge game? You know what? I think this likely will be one of my best bets, taking New England +6. But I also like New England to pull off the upset, baby. Let's go! We've got New England 24-23. Look out for the special teams. The Patriots special teams takes on the 32nd DVOA special teams in the LA Chargers. Patriots win 24-23. Eat it. Haters, come at me. Come at me. Patriots will win. Let's go. They will not let me down this time. I picked you versus Dallas. I was this close. This close. I think this is a great matchup for New England. I truthfully, 100%, with stripping all of my biases away, I do think this is a good matchup for the Patriots. It was last year. It is this year. Also, keep into account, this game's in LA, where more Patriots fans will show up for the game than Chargers fans. Give me New England. Let's go. I can't wait for all of you hating on me right now if the Patriots win. All right. Next. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Saints. Bucks currently favored by 6. Opened, I mean, it's been a lot different over the past couple of days, but 5.5 is the last time I saw. The Saints offense looked dreadful versus the Seahawks last week. I don't know how much of that was the rain. They returned to the Dome this week, which should help them pass the ball at least. They also play a team in the Bucs that a lot of people seem to think are very easy to take advantage of in the secondary, but they've been very good in the secondary, especially since Richard Sherman joined the team and became a coach. Last week, he was wearing the headset. Jamel Dean's been one of the best corners in the league since week 2. I don't know who he'll cover because the Saints have no receivers. They also have no tight ends to worry about. I expect this to be a heavy stop Alvin Kamara game plan for the Bucs. That will be their number one and only priority in this game. And it's really going to come down to, if this game is close, it's really going to come down to, can Jameis throw the ball outside the numbers constantly, effectively, and efficiently? Because he's going to face a lot of pressure. He's going to be blitzed. We know this. Todd Bowles is going to blitz. He's going to find a way to get pressure. And Winston's going to have to deliver. You will find out how this game's going to go within the first 5 minutes. Like, if the Saints punt on the first drive, it's over. Period. It's over. On the flip side, Gronk is back. Turtle says Michael Thomas is playing. I'm not sure if he is or isn't. But if he is, okay, that helps potentially. But still don't know how much that helps. We don't know because we haven't seen Michael Thomas play with Jameis Winston. Gronk is back. AB is likely out. He is doubtful. But they still got Evans and Godwin, and they got OJ, and they got Braid, and they got Tyler Johnson, and they got all these guys. Leonard Fournette's playing really well. I expect more so Tampa to go to the air than they have the last couple of weeks, where they've kind of leaned on Lenny to win these games, because the Saints are better versus the run than they are the pass. So I expect a big Chris Godwin game and potentially a big Gronk game in his return. And we saw Leonard Fournette have a good game in the receiving game last year in the divisional round. Could he come into that role again? So I think, the Saints defense, I respect them. I think they'll make it a tough time. I just don't think the Saints have enough offensively to consistently move the ball or make enough plays to keep up. So ultimately, I think the Bucs will win this game. I will take Tampa to win 27-17, covering the 6-point spread. in New Orleans. I expect it to be kind of, close at half maybe, and then Tampa to kind of pull away by a possession, 2 possessions at the end. But, the Saints have been they've played the Bucs hard, there's no doubt. I just think potentially the advantage the Bucs have this year that they didn't have last year is they just got way more chemistry on offense, and I think the Saints were able to take advantage of the lack of chemistry last year, especially in the regular season, and I don't think that's the case anymore. I think there's the Brady, the Evans, the Godwin connection is there, and it's not going away anytime soon, so I got the Bucs. All right, Sunday Night Football, you see my score. I've got the Dallas Cowboys winning a shootout type game over the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. That should be a very fun game. I have Dallas covering the spread, likely because it's supposed to be a higher scoring game. Just knowing numbers, doing math, the odds that they cover 2.5 are significant. If the total is that high in the game, they're likely to score more points, which means more points, bigger discrepancy in terms of how many, you can cover. So I have the Cowboys winning and covering this game. Here's the key advantage I think Dallas has in the game. It is Dallas's receivers versus Minnesota's cornerbacks. I think Minnesota's cornerbacks have gotten away with playing limited offenses in terms of their passing games. You look at the Cleveland tape. Cleveland had many opportunities to strike downfield, but Baker Mayfield was so bad. The Dallas defense might not be all that great either, but I expect just Dallas's passing game to outlast the Minnesota running attack, where Dallas has been better versus the run than the pass. I just think when you get Minnesota into drop back passing situations, they're not as good as the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys have a different gear offensively than the Vikings do. We have seen the Vikings slow down. We haven't seen Dallas slow down. Would it be shocking if the Vikings won this game at home? No, but I'm going to go with the team I just think is better. I think it's more explosive. I just think they're more complete. So give me the Cowboys to win a high-scoring, fun matchup on Sunday night. And on Monday Night Football, we've got the New York Giants at the Kansas City Chiefs in a game that, again, the Chiefs are double-digit point favorites for absolutely no reason outside of having their name be called the Kansas City Chiefs. It really makes no sense at this point why the Chiefs are double-digit favorites versus literally anybody outside of the Texans, the Lions, and the Jets. The Giants can score. I think that's the biggest misconception about the Giants is that they don't have a good offense. For some reason, people still say that. Like, if you look at this talent, I mean, there's probably like only 5 teams that have more skill position talent than the New York Giants. Like, the Giants got receivers. And if they play in this game, they're going to score. If Saquon plays, they're going to run it. Even if he doesn't play, they might run it. So the Chiefs are basically a liability on defense. Almost any offense in the league would put up some points on them. On the other side, Mahomes is in his own head. He's not playing good football. He's got to shake out of it. And I will say the Giants, they lost Jabril Peppers, but they've got some very good corners who can cover. They have smart safeties who can cover. They've got a great interior pass rush that could give them some problems, the Chiefs. And I don't think this is going to be a blowout. Maybe this could be the on to Cincinnati game for the Chiefs. There's always a chance. I just don't see it happening. I don't. I think the disrespect for Daniel Jones has been too significant, too much. He's a pretty good player. You got to stop hating. So I'm going to take the Chiefs to win, but I do expect it to be within the 10 points. I will take Kansas City 30, Giants 24 in what might be a shockingly exciting Monday Night Football game. I said this actually before the year even started, if you remember. But the Chiefs, again, as Ben Diesel is pointing out here, never take the Chiefs to cover. They've been bad versus the number for the last year and a half. That's another reason to take the Giants plus the points. But I will take the Chiefs to win just because I think they're ultimately more reliable on offense than the Giants, and I'm not certain about all the injuries that the Giants have and how healthy they'll be. But I'll take Kansas City to win, and I'll take the Giants to cover the 10. 30-24 on Monday Night Football in Arrowhead. Chiefs win. Mahomes is playing. All right, guys, there you have it. Those are my picks. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's NFL picks here on the BLV Bottom Line View. If you did enjoy, make sure that you do Gronk spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more NFL picks every week on Wednesday night. Live. Also, Gronk spike that notification bell so you know when I'm live every single week, every single time I'm live. It's been Mitch. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for Gronk spiking the like button. The streams this week, guys, will be the Patriots and the Chargers for sure. And I'll also probably be watching the Saints-Bucks game at the same time. And then in the AM, I'm not sure which matchup. Maybe I'll do a poll for you guys of which game you want me to do. It kind of sucks that the Bucks and the Saints game and the Chargers and the Patriots game are at the same time. Maybe I'll do Sunday night. I think Dylan's doing Sunday night if you guys want to check him out. Yeah, I might do a poll for that one. Of course, best bets are out tomorrow as always, so make sure you check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for your support. As for the social medias, you can follow us at The Bottom Line View on social media, where you get our Ultra 10, the 10 best teams in football. Fantasy starts and sits from Durkant. You get content from me as well on there, exclusively not found on YouTube. Also, you can follow my hectic tweets about the NFL, about movies, about anything I want to talk about on Twitter at Mitch Milani, Milani. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's Mitch. We will see you with the best bets tomorrow. Peace.